Hi there. I want to talk about the issue around linking to code owners. The file itself from a branch rules, the overview and the details page. So, and this question came up recently about, where should we link this to? So, code owners can exist in three different files: the file itself or some other folders. So there was some work to be done to kind of um, create an alias so that the UI would just link to one, and on the back end we could link to whatever file that's um, being set in the repository. Um, then the question came up around, like on this page here, is it the same code owner files? So, and as a result of that, how much performance is this to load this? Because we would be essentially calculating the correct code owners files to link to from each of these areas. The answer to that is the target branch's code owner. So it's so each of these would link off to its own code owner's path relative to its own branch, and that's okay. And where it gets kind of tricky for me is that in this example that I mocked up for the UI, I only did specific names of code owners, but for protected branches, we also have the idea of wildcard patterns, such as features slash star. And in those protected branches, we can also say required code owner approvals. In those scenarios, we could be matching from 0 to many branches, and each of those links would be specific to that branch because we're targeting the target branch. So we can't just link off to code owners' approvals from this for the wildcard scenario. And if we can't do it for the wildcard scenario and all branches and all protected branches, I question whether we should even do it for the individual branches themselves. So I created this flowchart just to help me understand where we're trying to link code owners from. And the two scenarios that I just mentioned here was within the repository settings with the branch rules overview and the details. The idea was that if you clicked on code owners, that would link you to the respective code owner files, like the blob view to view it. And same thing from branches details. So inside the setting itself, we would link the word code owners, and that would link to code owners. As I mentioned, for the specific branch name scenario, that makes sense. That's a one-to-one mapping, so we can link to somewhere. But in the case of a wildcard or all branches or all protected branches, then we get a little bit more. It gets a little bit more complicated, almost impossible in the current UI to actually display the specific link that we want them to link to. So I think that at the moment, because of that, we shouldn't go ahead with this link and perhaps focus our energies more on the path of linking from a file in a repository to code owners, and that's something that's being scheduled in this issue here. And the code owners file itself doesn't have that information well, so that is something that we can introduce. There's no conflicts there. We can link to the documentation, and also from the one file itself, from the code owners file itself, we can link that to branch rules so that users can view what rules have been set up for the entire repository. But if we wanted to link to the specific branch rules that is activating that code owners for that repository, I don't think we're there yet until we're able to resolve the rules for the branch so that we can have a one-to-one mapping, so that we can say that, yes, code owners is turned on for this repository because of these branch rules that are enabled, and there could be 2 or 3 branch rules enabled for a repository that requires code owners, and we could display that. But we can't link to a specific one yet because that's not possible. So maybe we need to break up this issue into a multiple issue. One is just to link to the overview, and then the other, which is mentioned in the issue, that's the more advanced solution, is to break it down to see, okay, these are the different branch rules that have it enabled for this repository. So I think that's the way we should move forward for this. I'm happy to hear your comments and feedback about this, and thank you very much.